Hello again, everyone. I am Gary Gauzzo, the voice of the FIS, and this is RaceVerse coverage of Round 5 of Season 6 of the Formula Indy Series, coming to you from Brands Hatch. This week, we had to go deep on the bench to find a color commentator that has, can put two sentences together and knows what they're talking about. And joining me for that role today is former IndyCar Oval Series champion and good friend of the program. You hear him on Mondays. Sometimes you hear him on Tuesdays. He says his early demise for retirement is probably overstated at this point. So he's going to be in IndyCar for a little bit longer. It's Mark Murphy. Murph, thanks for coming off the bench, though, man. I know that road courses are not your forte versus pretty much everybody in this lineup. That is their thing. But, you know, at least you try. I don't try anymore because I'm just not good. But at least you do a decent job more than I do.
I see a great opportunity for me to qualify 29th in a 26-car field here. Honestly, Gary, Brands Hatch is an amazing course when you break down its place both in Formula One and IndyCar history. It's a pretty cool place. This is very much like the English version of a Road America or a course like that. It's very, very fast, very smooth. There's not a whole lot of hard braking zones.
Mm-hmm.
The major difference here are the two main corners that you're going to see. Art Curve getting onto the Brabham Straight, which is the main straight, and Paddock Hill Bend, which is at the bottom of the Brabham Straight. That's turn 1. Both of those corners are off camber, and when you get to the bottom, the Brabham Straight is sloped. It's almost like built in a natural embankment. Mm-hmm. And when you get to the bottom of Paddock Hill Bend, that left-hander there, when you're coming off the corner, it's almost like the grip just completely falls away. And so these guys are going to have their hands, these guys, gals, they're going to have their hands full today just trying to survive coming off of that turn 1. Especially the reds get hot. Going through a fast off-camber left-hander to get down Halewoods Hill toward Druids is going to be fun to watch later on in a run.
Well, we got about 5 minutes, 18 seconds left to play. Nate Seifer, or I should say Bert Seifer, but it's Nate Seifer. But Bert is on the provisional pole here with a 107 flat. Logan Spath, very good lap for him, a 107.6. Matt Johnston is P3 at the moment. Hunter Ingrave provisionally P4. And Indica Scarlett, great run for her at this facility, a 108.1. You see the remainder of the field watching Mitch Welker, who is our defending, or at least... he actually won the last time we came here. We discussed that. Oh, there's Indica doing a little bit of a pirouette in the back portion of the racetrack. But we were watching Mitch there for a moment. He won the last time the FIS was here. And we were talking about that in the interview for his win and the last race we were at. So he is looking to go 2 for 2, and he has a pretty good record of doing that. But right now, looks like former champion Seifker, Sanders, and where is Bensie? Bensie's way down the lineup. I thought Bensie would be a little bit higher, but maybe he'll be higher here momentarily. But Former champions Seifert and Sanders are having him at bay at the moment in P1 and P2.
Yeah, and they get 4 laps of qualifying here, Gary.
Yeah.
We've got Tanner Davis off, but look, they get 4 laps, and so my guess is the rubric here is do 2, come in, get new reds, do 2 more.
Yeah.
So I would suspect that's the play. Or they might do an outlap, hot lap, come in, outlap, hot lap, come in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Trying to get 3 hot laps, but just the number of guys that you see spinning, number of guys and gals you see spinning, number of drivers you see spinning is huge. A lot of these corners are off camber, and as you look at it, if you look at the exits of the corners, you'll see that like green. It's almost like a golly, you know that junk you get at Menards, like the patio squares that have the green like mesh.
Yeah.
Patio squares, you know what I'm talking about? That's what that stuff is, and it's really, really, really slick. And especially if you get down to the bottom of Paddock Hill Bend, as you're coming off that corner, there's sand under it. So you make one wrong move on that stuff, and it's going to turn you loose. The other thing is this track is not completely FIA curbed, and so there are like the regular FIA curbs in some places, and you can see them, and they're the classic Marlboro pattern and so on. There are other places where the curbing is almost like it is at Martinsville, where it's raised, and you hit that stuff wrong, and it can turn you loose too. So there are varying degrees of ways to get in trouble here that you may not think about. And the other bit again is they're all very fast corners. There's not really one hard braking zone. If you had to pick it, it's probably going down into turn 2. That's Druids. Maybe turn 4, which is Surtees. And Sterling's maybe that's what, turn 8. But there are not a whole lot of hard brake zones here. Okay. It's very fast, very flowing. It kind of reminds you of the English version of, again, Road America would be a great comparison.
All right, 1:22 left to play here. Let's catch us up on kind of what's going on. Checking chat real quick. Mad Mike's reporting in. Of course, he does the strategy for Mitch Welker, and they said that they've got a late start on this. But I suppose you guys will always do well. And then Rick is here, and he's saying Nate Siefker. Yes, we know it's Siefker. Yes, we know. It's Bert Siefker, though. It's Bert.
Yes.
But Rick, good pal of mine, known him for over, now getting close to 25 years, actually, I think. But 33 seconds left to play. Siefker, Sanders, Bency, there he is. I knew he'd eventually get up to the top of Spath. So a good showing for the Stowe team in 3rd and 4th, Daly in 5th. Indica Scarlett in 6th, Johnston 7th, Digby 8th. Flaum 9th and Ingrave 10th. And we'll get here momentarily into the 5-minute practice session, or the warm-up session, and then we will get the starting lineup underway.
Ten more seconds. I don't know that the 11 is going to have time to complete their lap. Is Frankie going to get there?
Let's see if I don't think no. Nope. I don't get him. So let's go ahead and let's clear off. And let's get in the starting lineup. So before we do the starting lineup, there will be probably a couple of names that you're not going to see on the lineup that you might have saw in practice. And we'll go ahead and get that out of the way. From race control, we have a couple starting from the pits. Raval will be starting from the pits. DeFabus actually is just getting a warning from race control from last race. And I think that is the only driver that will be starting from the pits. We do see rulings also for Bonimi and McDougall, but they are not apparently in today's starting lineup. So with that, let's get into the starting lineup here.
On the pole with a lap of 1 minute, 7 seconds, and 33,000, it is Nate Siefker. Nate Siefker on the pole, 107.033. Outside of him starts P2 Gavin Sanders, 107.135. Caleb Binsey and Logan Spath make up row 2. Brian Daly and Indica Scarlett row 3. Matt Johnson and Frankie Franchica.
Yeah, one of the best names in all of iRacing.
P7 and P8, that's right. AJ Digby starts 9th. Zach Wall starts 10th. Hunter Ingrave will be 11th, flanked by Dakota DeMay in 12th. Titus Sherlock, lucky number 13. Outside of him will be Sebastian Gianni. Dan Morea, 15th. Mitch Walker, 16th. Joey Salmons, 17th. And Michael DeTurk will start on the outside of row 9. Row 10 is going to be made up of Tanner DeFabis and Andy Oak. Hayden Herman is going to hold down the 21st spot. Outside of him, Fabian Saavedra, Michael Costello, 23rd, Kevin Bonomi, 24th.
There's Bonomi, yep.
Bonomi. We're going to have Christopher Craig.
Kresge. That's Kresge. Chris Kresge, yes.
Chris Kresge, yes, 25th. And then No Time, Nick Goyette and Thomas Reval, 26th and 27th. Well, I guess Goyette did set a time. They're 26th and 27th on the field. 27 cars in the race this evening. Looking forward to a heck of a good show. And this is going to be interesting. This is going to be a first for me, Gary. I have never seen IndyCars do a standing start in the service.
It's going to be interesting. and race control has warned drivers to practice their standing starts during practice now and during the week leading up to this event. There you see a car on the backstretch, I think, actually going to practice the standing start right there. Yeah, it is going to be probably a big penalty today if someone messes up the standing start and wads up a bunch of cars.
I'm trying to think of the last time we saw that in real life. Would it have been the last Champ Car race, 2008 Long Beach? Oh,
remember, even though it's not the Saavedra that happened to, we do have a Saavedra in the lineup, but that was it was Sebastian Saavedra. I believe starting on the front row at the Indy GP, and they did a standing start there, and his car just did not go. And I want to say it was Marco that blasted him, and it was a big wreck on the front stretch.
I do recall that accident. I couldn't recall that it was a standing start or not, but you don't see it for the cars don't have onboard starters, so they're worried about him getting up to the line and killing the motors and having a big mess. But no such concerns here in the simulation world, of course. Believe it or not, if you did not know, in the sim, you can restart your own car. Did you know that, Gary?
Yes. Yeah, if you map the button, yeah.
And most of us do. I was in a race at Gateway earlier with Peter Dempsey, and Peter did not have his. He had the kill switch mapped, but he didn't have the ignition switch mapped. He killed the motor rolling around under caution. It was a fuel mileage derby, and he wound up coasting to a stop because you cannot bump start these cars if they're below 60 miles an hour. So that was interesting. And poor Peter, a great pro and former winner of the Freedom 100, very successful team owner in his own right now. But that was interesting to hear his take on not having the ignition button.
Well, we all make mistakes, just like people that race the DW12 and the IR05 and don't map the tearaway button. So you just got to think about that stuff in advance.
You would have never thought that would have been a story, but somebody always does it. Somebody always does it, Gary.
Yep. So let's go to the grid as the drivers are making their final tire selections. We'll see who is going what. Logan Spath lining up in fourth. He is going to the Reds. Gavin Sanders lining up second, going to the Reds. Nate Seifert going long. Nate going with the primes. Yeah, Byron Daly going with primes. Johnson with the primes. We'll see how Digby loads in here.
Now,
it's a good mix. It's a very good mix of different tire compounds for the start here. Here's Digby. He's going prime. Flown prime. So the top 10 kind of split. So we're getting ready to go. You'll hear the over my voice. Here come the engine revs coming up. Seeing 4 cars at least starting on pit road, and we are underway. Good, clean start.
Get away. Yeah, they made it. Everybody made it away. They're all gonna file down to the Paddock Hill bend. Nate Seifker, P1, followed by Sanders and Bency. No surprises there. If Seifker can get away here on those blacks, he may be able to put this race away early. I think the guys that are on reds, Sanders and Bency, are banking on getting him by and gapping him, and they're banging wheels in the back of the pack, Gary.
Yeah, and Gavin kind of is putting Nate in a position where he has got to drive very offensively. And
we got a spinner in the back.
And Spency, yeah, watching the battle for the lead. Go ahead, mark who it is. I will get back. As a Titus Sherlock. Titus Sherlock.
Yes.
And also Christopher Kresge is missing a front wing. Gavin Sanders and Caleb Bency were fighting for the lead.
You got to get him. You got to get him early. If he's on those blacks, you gotta get Nate Seifker early, because if he's able to get those things up to temperature, he will be able to check out and be long gone. You're never going to catch him. We think that somebody is going to try to do this on one stop by saving. Maybe that's Nate's intention, maybe not. But we think that you might be able to do this on a fuel save deal. The other bit is that I'm assuming it's a it's a red black or black red race. So Nate's going to be able to get the non-preferred tire out of the way early. So he's on the fast stuff at the end. The other guys and gals are going to have it the other way around, Gary.
Watching a battle back here for around 10th. Ingrave, Flown, Morera, Digby. The big winner out of that really was Hunter Ingrave in his battle for 10th. Mitch Welker already up a number of spots, 8 spots already to 8th. He is in direct contact with Indica Scarlet. Indica Scarlet, good start for her. Down 1 spot, but holding firm in the top 10. And here comes Mitch on the outside. And the kind of the full send sweeper there.
Well, it doesn't seem like it, but that actually is the preferred line.
Yep.
So we kind of talked about it. Those two corners, right, that come onto the Brabham Straight, both off camber. And you can kind of see it if you focus your camera up from Druids, you look up toward Paddock Hill Bend, you can see the inside tire lift up off the ground a little bit as they go through there. It gets very, very light. It's very hard to control, and they get out on those patio blocks out there, and the back end wants to snap around, and if you get too close to the sand,
Spath and Seifker. And there's a battle for third and fourth, and Spath getting around Nate. A battle for position up in the top 4. Sorry about that. Byron Daly is in 5th as we're starting to settle in. Frankie Franchica 6th. Mitch Welker now 7th. Scarlett 8th.
Yep. Now Nate Seifker, he's a second and a half slower on those blacks than the guys around him on reds. And so Sanders and Bency, they have got to go and get gone. They've got to go and get gone so that they have enough of a gap to pad them whenever those blacks come good. Usually the flipping point is about 2/3 of a way through the tank. Usually.
Okay.
So, if we figure a fuel run anywhere between 18 and 22 laps, or 18 for a two-stopper, they have to go to 27 for a one-stopper.
Here's a battle for 5th, Daly and Welker. Welker getting that going into 5. Going to 6 here now. Move Welker up into the top 5. Not to cut you off, sorry about that. Saw just a battle brewing here for the top 5, and Welker is one of the points leaders at the moment. We'll get into the points momentarily. Do want to explain the overlay, how it is set up operationally. You will see everybody cycling through past the 10th position. So 11th through the remainder of the field on the screen, 11th through 20, and then 20 through the remainder of the field on the next flip over. You see that right there, 21st through 27th. You will see a purple number next to P1 at Gavin Sanders there. That's because he has the purple lap, 108.235. You might see that number change to different drivers during the race, and we'll try to keep up on that. But that is the overlay. Right now, we're just showing best lap. Let's get a idea of gaps, how some of the battles are fighting right now. And that battle for 9th continues to be tight. Actually, more behind 9th, more like 10th. We got 3 cars kind of right in line. But most everybody, Johnston on pit road, and that is a tow. That is a tow. Number of cars looks like have already retired. Tanner DeFabis, Michael Costello, Kevin Bonomi, and Johnston. This might be a retire. Christopher Kresge has already stopped to get the repair done. Andy Oak looks like he's got some repair done. Okay, looks like Johnson is coming back. All right, good run on him. Good run on his team there to get those parts replaced. Fabian Saavedra was on pit road. Sherlock on pit road at one point. Hayden Herman on pit road, and Thomas Raval, he started on pit road, but doesn't look like he has did any service, just simply started there. So those are the updates of those in the back that may have had some issues in the early laps. Go ahead, Murph. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's quite all right. So I figured out what's happened to Matt Johnston. He is mounting the hill. Going back up the hill, and he does the thing, Gary. He goes into the sheen curve, I believe, and just loses it, spins it out, and then that tears off the front wing. So that's bad news. And then he kind of beaches it a little bit, backs it up, trying to get it going again, clouts the Armco. And
I'm going to cut you off. We got a battle for 4th brewing right here between 2 former champions here of the series. Nate Seifer and Mitch Welker coming up the hill into the hairpin at the top of the hill.
That is reds against blacks. So of course blacks on the 2, reds on the 76, of course. Interesting to see how long Nate can hold him off.
Nate's had a bit of a rough start to the season. Had a couple early outs at Long Beach. I think race control gave him the blame for a really bad start there on the standing start at Long Beach. Just kind of not in his former self. There is Chris Kresge right in front of this duo, trying to get out of the way. Oh, and they run over each other. Over each other.
That is just a whole bad set of circumstances gone wrong there.
And I don't know. I don't think Chris Kresge had anything to do with that, really. So let's take a look at it, and let's look at it from the perspective of Mitch. I mean, the car is they got Chris Kresge there, and I don't think Chris is out of the way. Now he's out of the way there. Let's see what happens when they come up to the zone where the incident happened here.
So I think,
and they kind of caught him at the wrong spot, and Chris really didn't have a place much to escape, and they just ran right up on him.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing here is Nate's, he's trying to roll the center of the course. He's trying to roll through there. He's on the black, so he's short of grip. He's pushing to stay ahead of Mitch Welker. He catches that lap car.
Well, you know what? I'm watching from Nate's point of view, and he was kind of loose before Watch this. He's kind of counter steering already. I mean, before he really kind of caught Kresge. I don't think. I think Kresge would have got out of the way if he had a place to go.
No, I don't think. And Craig Forsyth is right. It's the worst place to come up on a slower car because you're carrying so much speed through there, and you get the slightest amount of air taken away, and I think he kind of got loosened up a little bit, and away he goes. And poor Nate.
Well, poor Mitch, and he has made the stop, and I believe he's got repaired. But I don't think the way that car bounced around, even if he is repaired. Let's hop in the over. He is tracking straight, but I imagine there's other damage on that car. Let's check out Nate here also. Nate is going to let Mitch by, and I think this might be a retire. Well, no, Nate just lets the faster traffic on by. He's staying to the inside. I think he might be in the kind of defense mode now, as he's kind of letting all these guys go by.
I think if he's not calling it a day, and it might behoove him to stay out, for points. You don't want to pull in and shut it off if there are points to be gained. There he goes. He's going to get back in it, but shame.
Now let's real quick. Let's take a look at the FIS points. As we're going to do this real quick before getting to our first pit stops that we think is going to happen. Go ahead.
Speaking of pit stops, Nate Seeker just pulled it in and towed it. So I think he is. I suspect he is done.
So if we're doing a two-stopper, I think the window opens up about 18. I don't know the mileage everyone has. Oh, right in front of Sanders' car gets a little squirrely. Sanders manages to steer clear. I'm not quite sure if they get to 18. I think they can here. That's I think doable at the track size. Let's take a look at the point situation. Boom, here it is. Gavin Sanders is your leader. 175 to 164 over Mitch Walker. This is gonna hurt Mitch. We'll see how Mitch recovers right now, but I'm sure Gavin has already heard on his radio that Mitch is having problems, so he wants to A, capitalize on this opportunity, and B, really just avoid any issues whatsoever at this point. Even if it doesn't win the race, getting a solid finish ahead of Mitch at this point in the season is going to be critical. P2 there, you see Mitch is, and then P3 is Caleb. And then there's kind of a bit of a follow to Yoshikawa, who's not in the lineup today. Logan Spath in the lineup. He's going to look like to probably jump Yoshikawa. Ingrave in 6th. Daly in 7th, Sifker in 8th. Morera, the highest ranked amateur right now, in 9th, and McDougall, who is the 2nd highest ranked amateur, in 10th. Let's get that off the screen, get you back to action real quick. As we take a peek at the cars real quick, we will bring up the amateur points. There you go. There's the amateur. Morera, McDougall, Allen, Digby, Claiborne are your top 5. Allen, I believe, is not in the lineup. Neither is Claiborne. Schlosser's not in the lineup either. So some guys are going to make some spots up here in that. And the team points. Stowe Maroon, DLC, Project 2, Eclipse, TWR Blue Razor Division.
And that's something that's worth following. Dan Morera is 10th in this race. He's doing a heck of a job. He's at 5 spots. That's a big deal. He is by far the highest ranked amateur. AJ Digby would be next at 13th. The race within the race is always fun to watch too. Whether it be pros against amateurs or sports cars, GTPs against GTs. Those things are always insightful and fun to watch. And really, kudos to Dan, because these are some really lightning quick names. Watching Gavin Sanders, he pulls up on Andy Oak. We'll put a lap on him and go through Caleb Bency in close attendance through Clark as they get into the Brabham straight there.
And we just saw Siefer parked in the pits. Back up to Dan Morera. There is Dan. Dan, of course, my hero. He has really picked up his craft, though, in the last couple of years. certainly in the last 2 years that I can think of, when during the dark period, I know he was doing a lot of sports car racing, and then he's kind of stepped back into IndyCar. He was getting very, very good at IndyCar before the dark times, and then as he steps back in, that time doing the sports cars have really kind of sharpened the knife for him, so to speak, skill-wise in these cars, and we have seen him since joining the series consistently as one of the highest placed amateurs every single week. There is 4D Racewear, sponsored car, longtime supporter of RaceVerse. In fact, we'll go ahead and give them a shout out. Make sure, if you have not done so already, make sure to check out 4D Racewear is a line of made for sim racing gloves, shoes, and apparel. Check them out at 4dracewear.com. And of course, Dan Herrera, my hero, as I'll
tell you who one of my heroes.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you who one of my heroes is Jim Herrick. I was talking to him the other day.
The head of 4D Racewear, yeah.
Yeah, we were doing a race together, and in the Dark Horse League, and Jim and I got to talking, and he full disclosure, part of the prize for winning the Velocity Online Racing Series was a pair of their shoes, which I continually compliment him on. Especially since my rig is right next to an air conditioning vent. Those come in quite handy, but they're very nice. Almost like ballet. They're almost like high top ballet shoes or jazz shoes, if that makes any sense. Very nice, very comfortable. Enjoy them thoroughly. So thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. Wonderful product if you don't have it there.
Yeah, check out 4dracewear.com. Meanwhile, back at the front, Benzie back to a second, back to Sanders.
Yeah, that's been kind of yo-yoing back and forth a little bit, depending on traffic. Caleb will get within, old Benzie will get within half a second. Now it's back to a second. You don't really know how hard they're pushing. They've got 3.5 back to Logan Spath. Byron Daly is the first car on blacks. He's 13 seconds behind this crew. So you don't know really how hard they're pushing. Maybe save a little fuel, save a little tires, try to stretch those reds a little bit. It's not yet time to talk turkey when it comes to the race.
Who was off and behind Daly? Was that Welker?
Could have been. Go run that down.
Yeah, that was Welker just going a little deep there in the 3. He kept it off the wall, but again, I don't think his car is really the same car it was when it started. Not since that incident with Seeker, unfortunately.
No, and I'm watching his onboard. It's definitely he's got his hands full. The wheel's straight, but I don't think he's got the full complement of downforce. I'm sure the under tray's damaged. I'm sure the diffuser's damaged. These cars, they may not look damaged to the naked eye.
Yeah, it's that tray, the floor. When the floor gets any type of damage, it's pretty critical to these cars.
And it doesn't take much to hurt it either. I mean, these things are really kind of durable side to side, but if you hurt the floor, they're a handful.
Well, we are just on the cusp of the 2-stop window opening here. We're expecting right about lap 18 for the 2-stoppers to make the pitch down the pit road there. Interesting way to get on the pit road here. It's right off a kind of a incline there on that main straight. We'll watch here in fact, let's ride along on Gavin Sanders here as they are back in the forest portion, and they will quickly rejoin the main version of there's where the Indy course rejoins right there. And as you see, there's pit road, so it's a bit of a interesting way to position your car. It's to get on the pit road. It's not really in the racing line, which in some ways is good. In some ways good, but in other ways, if you have a pass there or traffic there, it could really screw some people up at the top of the hill in the hairpin, down the hill. This is Graham Hill Bend, the Cooper Straits, and the Surtees.
Yeah. And now we're going to go through Pilgrim's Drop. This is a massive downhill blast. Pilgrim's Drop. You got a slight right, and then you're going to get to Hawthorne Hill, and at the end awaits Hawthorne's a fast right-hander, and then down the Derek Minter straight into Westfield. Here we go. Back up Dingledell. Oh, we're climbing the hill again.
Sheen. Sterling's coming up right here.
Yep. And now we're going to keep climbing. We're going to go through clearways, and then the right-hander, that
Clark.
road you see there is...
Yep.
The road you saw back there,
McLaren.
rejoining the course, was McLaren.
Yep.
So if you're going to do the Indy circuit here, essentially, and if you want to keep showing it, Gary, I'll show them where the cutoff is for the Indy circuit, but down Hillwoods.
Sure, we'll get back on there on top of the hill. We'll see the Indy circuit here in just a moment. And it's called it's called the Indy circuit for a reason. We'll get into in just a second.
So instead of making the left, you would turn right there.
Yeah, really quick left-right combination.
Yep, it's full throttle, and you just make a harder right. You go back up Clark and down the Brabham Straight. The thing with Brands Hatch that's very unique is that when you watch the old British Grand Prix here, you'll see most of the crowd at the top of the Brabham Straight and Paddock Hill Bend, because you can see almost the entire course. If anybody out there has watched the old James Garner movie Grand Prix, you'll see when they go to the British Grand Prix, which is at Brands Hatch, you'll see them go. They'll be at the front of the garage whenever they're going down the front straight, and then they'll turn and they'll run to the back of the garage because they can see the rest of the course.
Okay.
Right? So that's why you see them do that in that movie. Brands Hatch also was modified with the extension. And so it basically started in the 50s as what you see for the Indy as the Indy circuit. It wasn't quite that yet. The full kind of deal, which went down to Druids, was 1953 and 54. They didn't build the full course until 1960. So the Indy circuit layout actually predates the Grand Prix circuit, believe it or not.
Well, as you mentioned before in the lead up to all this, there have been 2 IndyCar races for real here. The first one was held in 1978 during the closing days of the USAC era. Al Unser qualified on the pole and immediately lost his engine at the drop of the green. That was the story of his season. The bulk of the race was dominated by Danny Angias, but was won by then part-time Penske driver Rick Mears for his third of 26 career wins and first on a road course. The IndyCars returned in 2003, this time in the closing years of the kart era. Paul Tracy set the course record with a speed of 115.960, and that's on the Indy course, or the Indy circuit. And the race was won by, to no one's surprise at the time, Sebastian Bourdais. But, of course, Bourdais pretty much dominated that period, but that was his first of his career 37 IndyCar wins. So some interesting stats here from IndyCars. Of course, the 78 season was best remembered by Tom Sneva winning the national championship by not winning a single race. Yeah, I believe he finished on the podium here. I have to go back and look. He had a very good finish here. But the DNF and the which would have been a last place finish for Unser pretty much killed his championship hopes that season. At that point, going forward, he was kind of in recovery zone, and that's despite winning the Triple Crown that season. Unser won Indy, won Ontario, won Pocono, and is the only driver to ever do so, but was unable to put together a regular consistency that season to win the national championship. So there you go. But while we got your attention for the moment. If you are enjoying RaceVerse coverage of the FIS and respect the stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash like and click the bell so you don't miss out on future RaceVerse iRacing broadcasts. I don't think we've had really any takers at lap 18 other than I think we got Michael DeTurk pitted on 18. He's going for the 18-18 strategy. And I think these guys up at the front are going a little bit deeper as right now Gavin Sanders now approaching one of his kind of corporate associates. There, Dakota DeBed in 15th. I think Dakota will probably work a move here where he can let... Oh, nope. You know what? Gavin's going to pit road for 21. Lap 21. So how close are we to a one-stopper? We're kind of in the neighborhood. Are they going to be able to save that much? I don't know.
Not six. 6 laps would be an awful tall order. Brands Hatch, you're on the throttle. An awful.
And he's in with Bincy. And Spath is going to stay out, so the Stowe team is going to split strategies here. One's going to go shorter, one's going to go longer. Byron Daly now in second. He's part of that juggernaut there in the associates of Stowe and the DLC squads. Gavin comes out now in third. Bincy in fourth. There's Zach Flaum coming up the hill. He's now in fifth. Indica Scarlet. Great run by Indica. P6. Dan Morera now in seventh. Oh, come on. We don't want to jinx Scarlet.
Yeah. Hang on. Hang on.
Indica must have been watching Fallout on Prime Video the last couple weeks, as it just recently came out. I kind of watched it. It's an okay series. I kind of don't get it on some ports. It's just not my style, I guess, of sci-fi, I guess. But I know there's a lot of people out there that are enjoying it. I never played the video game, so that might be one of the reasons. But the Vault-Tec car does look good. And we're watching Dan Morera in seventh. Digby in eighth. Right behind Digby. Battle for position here. This is Ingrave and the Turk. The Turk in the plain white wrapper. This is a battle for 9th and 10th.
A good one. We're seeing more cars peel off into pit lane. Indica Starlet, of course. Going to bring her machine to the attention of the crew. Cars in and out. Very tight pit road here, too, Gary. Really only the pit boxes in one lane.
Yeah, you can miss your spots, miss your marks. I noticed a lot of cars were having a hard time. Yeah, I noticed a lot of people having a hard time hitting their marks in practice. Coming up the hill, a lot of traffic there. Andy Oak to the inside of this battle for now, coming up to 7th, as they've stayed out a little bit longer. Gavin has cycled back to the lead. Go ahead.
We get the old story. Who could make it? Who could be quicker on cold tires? So,
Gavin's put 4 seconds, almost 5 seconds on Bincy.
Yeah, he laid down another good one. Much quicker on the outlap. I don't have the exact time in front of me, but he most assuredly had a monster outlap. And then Bincy responds right back and picked up half a second on the next lap. So there we go. But super impressed by Dan Morera. Morera's still got a shot.
He's on pit road right now. I think Dan is on pit road. Sanders has reached the rear wing of Mitch Welker. Mitch Welker is the last car on the lead lap. This is a 15th spot. And Welker is going to battle this one as long and as hard as he can because he does not want to go down a lap. And he did, of course, had to make a trip to pit road to get his car repaired after the incident back in the forest with Seifer. And he did make a stop then, but he will have to stop momentarily. If he's got good pace, and Welker is fighting Reval in front of him in the Gemini car and the Gemini squad there. If Gavin thinks that Mitch has good pace, he might just let Mitch try to kind of punch a hole for him, and he can just try to follow through. But he is not hemorrhaging time back to Bincy. This right still at that 4.7 to 5 second range.
Yeah, Welker, Bincy, and Sanders are all running kind of the same speed. The disadvantage for Mitch, and he can stay out for a little bit. He stopped at lap 16, so he's only been out for 8 laps. He stopped at lap 8, so he's been out 18 laps. So he's probably got another 5 or so left in the tank.
Yeah, the current stint for him is 16 laps. Yep.
So he's on hot older blacks. So those tires are into their own now. He's not really giving up any grip, but he is going to slide wide. Really, he's pushing hard. He needs to get around. Thomas Revolve because
Thomas has done a good job from starting from the pits.
Yeah, he has. He's up to 14th. Not only that, but he's not really holding these guys up all that much. Walker is desperate to get by for other reasons. Clearly, he's fighting to stay on the lead lap, which.
Careful, Gav. Gav had his nose right there underneath the attenuator. I was like, whoa, pretty close.
I'm sure Gavin Sanders is one of the smartest guys I've ever driven against. Okay, if he doesn't have race labs up and know the fuel situation for Welker in front of him, he definitely has somebody in his ear telling him, hey, you don't need to race him right now. You got a big lead. Just
it's down to 4.1 seconds, so Benzi's shaved it off by 7/10 here in the last couple of laps.
Very true, but he's catching him at 10th, maybe 2/10.
And Reval, he's only 2 laps into his current stint, so this is Reval's going to stay wide, let Welker go.
Well, he's going to stay really wide now.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't want to see someone that's going to say, all right, I concede, but then they drive off into the kitty litter and they have taken themselves out when they're just trying to be a nice guy. Almost did it, kept it under control. He's back in 15th now, a lap down. Good car control for him. Definitely had his etiquette well placed. But once he opened the door, they kind of slammed it home.
Yeah. I kind of look at that and I see 2 things happening. The first is, yes, I think Thomas let him go, but there's just not much grip out there.
No.
Right? You go back and watch that. He's off the line. And he's actually got his rights up on the patio squares on the top, and that's just, there's no grip there. Meanwhile, Welker has pulled away from Gavin Sanders a little bit. He's going to come up on Nick Goyette here. They're going to get by him. Nick moves out of the way.
Yeah, Goyette back in 20th, 2 laps down.
He was one of our early spinners, I believe.
Yeah, I had a little issue early.
Mitch is not holding up. He's not holding him up.
No.
And that's why I say I think Gavin understands the situation. Stay there, be calm. Yeah, you might give up a second to Benzi maybe. In the grand scheme of things, that's not a big deal.
Well, it has stabilized since they worked their way around Tomas. They're down 4.3, and I think Caleb now is starting to. Well, no, I thought he was starting to encounter traffic, but he has not got there yet.
I'll tell you what, full marks to Mitch Welker because he is pushing that car hard. He has got the whip to that thing, and he's going for about all it's worth, Gary. Especially having blacks on.
I would imagine that he's driving a little red as well. It's just not been his. Well, I don't want to say it hasn't been his season because we're still halfway through this season, but it hasn't had the same level of consistent success that he did in his inaugural season when he won all but 2 races. And then during the dark times, the FIS still did participate. They did still have a league. It wasn't broadcast, of course. And the races that he participated in, he tended to do very well there as well. You don't see Mitch struggle, have incidents, make unforced errors or anything that we've seen this season. But it shows that at the end of the day, we're all human. And I know that any given day, Mitch is an awesome driver. It just shows that we're all human, and I suspect that if one of these days it doesn't impact Mitch, it might impact Gavin or it might impact Caleb. But right now, so far this season, Gavin and Caleb have, or especially Gavin, has kind of been the beneficiary of everything lucky.
Well, and here's the thing too, bad luck and good luck seem to come in bunches.
Yeah.
And And you can get on a good run of bad luck, to paraphrase an old Clint Black song, and it will just absolutely eat you alive. It's happened to me. It's happened to everybody. But you get in a deal where, the year before you missed every guy that spun in front of you,
and the next year you nail them all.
Yeah, it's like somebody's following you around with a truckload. Somebody's following you around with a helicopter load full of bricks. It just, it's hard that way, and so Mitch, he's doing what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Okay. In that, right now he's coming up on, he's about 4 seconds behind Dakota DeMay, and he is 2 seconds a lap quicker. He's doing what he needs to do. He's going to come into pit lane here, but he's doing what he needs to do in that he is absolutely driving the wheels off of his car.
Yeah.
He's just going to try to drive it back. When you're in a points battle, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, just finish, maximize your points.
You might have a broken car, but hey, if I can go out and finish, let's see.
Currently down on 15th right now, 1 lap down.
So he's 15th, a lap down.
Yeah.
But I would suspect, he might be able to get this thing back in the top 10. You know what? That's a lot better than being out of the race. Taking home 25th place money or whatever it is. So the other thing is, when you are as fast as him, and I know he's mad, but when you're as fast as him,
well, this might be his last stop too. He's really close on the cusp of making this his last stop. He needs 23 laps, and we saw everybody in that last stint. A lot of the leaders do 21 and 22 laps. So maybe if you save a little fuel, he can make it to the end.
Very true. The flip side of that is he put the reds on.
Oh, okay. Well,
so
maybe he thinks the Reds can do well for him in the long run. Let's real quick while we're focusing on back on one of the points leaders. Let's go through the league, go through the field. Give other some other people some TV time based upon some pretty good performances. Byron Daly in fourth. He is. What's that?
I'm sorry, Zach Flom just got into a bit of a kerfluffle that cost him his left front wing.
He has a one-wing Angel, and he has I believe that's Hayden Herman right behind Joey Clements, and so he's coming to pit road right now to get that fixed. So let's go through the let's go through the field here real quick because we do want to get some TV time for some other folks. Daly, we mentioned Ingrave now up to 5th. He's having a good run. He is having another good run. Michael DeTurk and the Plain White Rapper having a good run as well in 6th. Sebastian Gianni, Seb in 7th. A good run for him and the Gemini squad. Titus Sherlock, we have found him in 8th. And right behind Sherlock is Scarlett in 9th. We've already talked about her run. And then Dan Morera, the lead amateur right now, in 10th. Zach Flaum on pit road that we just was looking at a little while ago. Right behind him is Dakota DeMay. He is in 12th spot. And right behind him, and this is a battle for position, A.J. Digby. So this is I think this is a three-way battle right here for 11th, 12th, and 13th. And Flaum just stopped, I believe. So DeMay and Digby, they're going to be a little bit slower because those are brand new reds on the shod there on Zach's car.
Well, and here's the thing too, that might not hurt him that much. Everybody else had one more stop anyway. He's in the window for the I don't know. I don't know if you can make it. Oh no. You should be able to.
They're right in the window where I think they can, especially that we're 33 of 54, so 21 laps. A lot of cars, like I said, for that first stint went 21, 22, 23. So I think people can make it with some fuel conservation. Maybe they don't have as many pushes of the button as they want anymore. We will talk about that here momentarily. But Zach pulls away. There's Dakota in 12th, keeping that Sunset Arctic car clean and green so far. Digby in 13th, last car on the lead lap. Thomas Raval started from pit road, up 13 spots in 14th. Good run for him. Welker in 15th, as we just mentioned, just stopped. Might be his final stop, probably is. And Hayden Herman in 16th. Joey Cements in 17th. Andy Oak in 18th. Matt Johnston in 19th. He started up front, had an issue, but has been repaired and is back underway. He's the last car 1 lap down. Nick Goyette's first car 2 laps down. And Fabian Saavedra, he is continuing to make laps here. 7 laps down. Careful there, Fabian. Oh, wow. No!
Oh, no!
And Zach Flaum got collected in that one. And I can imagine that he is not happy. And Saavedra has parked it at the top of the hill. I can imagine he's not happy either. And that is probably going to be reviewed by race control, I would imagine, as well.
I don't pretend to want to.
No, I don't want to. No. Byron Daly is cycled to the lead real quick. But yeah, I don't want to pretend to be race control there, but that's going to be a race control call.
So what happened was this. So Fabian Saavedra came down into the Paddock Hill Bend. He got off. Right, he got off in the grass. He came back out on the track surface. And poor Zach just came up on him and didn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
Would send him off into the sand. Nothing intentional there other than maybe,
I think on the rejoin, he probably should have held his line up against the white line, and he came down a little bit, opened the outside. That thought maybe Flaum maybe thought that he was going to dive into the inside and leave the outside open, and then he would go on the outside. It's a split second call, and right there he got collected. I'm going to guess that it's going to be a questionable rejoin, but again, that's going to be up to race control. Anybody in chat wants to make a ruling on it, go right ahead. Watching now our leader as we are going through pit cycles is Byron Daly, who the last couple races for this guy have been fan-freaking-tastic, and he has been moving up in the points. Got his first podium here in the series. I believe career podium. I could be wrong. Got to go back and look at the stats there. But nevertheless, he was very happy at Long Beach and had a solid finish at Mosport. And he is currently leading some laps right now.
He was the one guy that we thought might have a crack at doing this in one stop. He went all the way to lap 23, so he was the latest stopper, Gary, on the initial round of pit stops. He has about 8 seconds in hand on Gavin Sanders, 8 and a bit seconds, and he's kind of running along. If he holds the form here, he's, I don't know, I don't know if he's going to be able to one-stop it necessarily, but I think what Byron Daly might be thinking is, if I run it long twice, I'm going to have a really short pit stop, and I'm going to have new reds and a really light car. And one of the things that isn't really talked about all that much in these cars is how the fuel load affects the handling. You can have a car that feels one way with new tires and a full tank of fuel, and you get half a tank in it, and it'll wake that baby up. And so, maybe that's a strategy play. There's no adjustments. It's a fixed series. But that's one of the ways you can adjust your car is a fuel level. So how about Byron Daly, though? Just hanging out. He's losing, Gavin Sanders about half a second. Took about half a second out of him that time. Vinci closing down on Sanders. He's got it down to 2.4 seconds. It was 4 after the pit stop. But interesting to see how this pans out for Byron Daly.
Yeah, I got to get some career stats here for Byron Daly. He's got 22 career starts here in the FIS. Pretty good average start, right about 10th. average finishing position is 6th. Does have one win. And I don't recall when that. It must have happened when we were in during the dark times. So he does have one series win. I can go back and look that up. 7 top 5s. Or 8 top 5s and 10 top 10s. Coming to pit road, Byron Daly. Final scheduled pit stop. Hopefully did not speed, but struggled to bring that car down to slow down. There's Saavedra coming off of pit road.
Dakota's also in. So the final round of pit stops has begun. We're 15 laps from the end. So not a full load of fuel going.
Yeah, and he's down the way.
I will say this: I have to give a shout out to Saavedra's paint job. That evokes some pretty good memories for me. Robbie Gordon kicked off driving that Valvoline scheme back in the day after he had been dismissed by none other than Anthony Joseph Foyt.
Got picked up by Walker Racing. Then we got back to Gavin Sanders is your leader, and Gavin is right behind Mitch Welker again. And Welker is in 13th, last car on the lead lap. Last time by Welker, well, actually, as his last time is on the screen. We'll bring that up on the screen real quick. Last lap was a 109.5. Sanders, 109.2. And Bency is shaved into that 4-second lead down to 2.7. Logan having a great run on 4.3 back from the leader. From Bency, excuse me. Another 4 back from Logan is Hunter, having another great run. Hunter's problem earlier in the season was getting finishes. Now he's getting finishes. He was getting good starts, but bad finishes. Now he's actually putting the whole deal together. This is good news for his run on the season. Peaking at the right time. Next race, folks, is Belle Isle next week. Then we have a couple weeks off. And then Indianapolis on the oval. Formula Indy Series making their one and only yearly oval race. In the past, it's been, I think they've done Michigan and California. But mostly it's been Indy that's where they've always come back to. And we will see them here as their only race for the month of May. Here is the schedule for the Formula Indy Series. May 16th is Indianapolis. April 25th is Belle Isle. And then getting into the June, the stretch run is Mugello, which will be the first time we've ever broadcasted the race there. Interlagos, and finishing up at Road America. Rejoining the action on the track, Hunter Ingrave making a stop, his last stop on pit road, handing off his positions to Titus Sherlock, who has now worked his way up into the top 5. Byron Daly now 4th after his pit stop. And Logan Spath there, we talked about him. So Daly's about 10 seconds behind Spath. Sherlock about 7 seconds behind Daly. So the top 5, top 10, top 5 are really starting to get spread out. Ingrave! Oh no! And I jinxed him. Ingrave in 7th. He is off. He is stuck in the kitty litter.
You got to stop talking about him, Gary. And that's in a very odd spot.
Oh, and the back end on cold tires just comes around, and that is that's right there at the bottom of the hill in 3. Oh man,
he doesn't hit anything, but he's got it beached in a very odd.
And he had to tow. He just that's just
you can't get it. Well, he can't get it out of there. You know, almost gotta. He's spinning the tires trying to go forward. You almost gotta reverse slowly out of that, to be honest. Ask me how I know how to reverse slowly out of there, Gary.
I see Sam Adugal in chat. Hey, Sam. Sam says, not the best rejoin I've seen. Okay. I can agree to that. That's back to that incident that we saw a little bit earlier with Flaum and Saavedra. Let's kind of go right ahead.
I can dig that. After pit stops, by the way, Mitch Welker has found his way back in front of Gavin Sanders, and Gavin is dutifully following in his way.
Gavin doesn't have to really do anything here, as long as he's not hemorrhaging time. There you see Bency in the background coming down the hill as these guys are entering 3. You saw Bency exiting 2, and Bency is about 2.5 behind this battle. There he is. We turn the camera. There he is, wearing the number 1, the defending champion.
And he's got the bit between his teeth.
Yeah, he does.
But you gotta think, back to this battle for the lead. You gotta think that Sanders is just sitting there behind Mitch Welker. He's saving fuel. He's saving tires.
Yep.
He's just kind of saving his stuff. Meanwhile, Caleb Bency is giving that Dallara everything it can handle. He is going hard at it.
Caleb is defending champion here, 3-time champion of the former Revolution Indy League, which a lot of these guys also ran in. That included road courses and ovals. And really one of his standout races and how he became kind of on the team RaceVerse. I'm going deep into history. Back in a former league that he ran in, he was just racing a plain white wrapper and did a very good job here, and impressed the time at the person that was ahead of RaceVerse at the time, Matt Houston, when we had an actual team, and brought him on the team, and he has been associated with RaceVerse ever since. But has a big following. Everyone at home watching. So hi to the family. Hi to all the friends there watching at home. Your guy is P2, been pretty much there all race long. He had a good run at the lead on the opening laps, and the door was slammed shut, but since then kind of been all by himself in P2. Kind of reeling in Sanders, not quite, but there's some lap traffic in between him and Sanders. Goyette there is in between him and the P1. And let's give a shout out to the other Stowe guy, Logan Spath. Now, Logan Spath, during the dark days, won his first career race when the RIL went to Talladega. And I told him I wish I was there to call that race so I get a chance to talk to him on the podium. Right now, we are just a few laps away, not too far, from talking to him on the podium for the first time here in the FIS. So let's root for Logan to get on the podium here, because it's been a long time in coming for Logan to get on the podium and get closer to backing up that win at Talladega.
That's something that you're going to get to do here probably the next month, is you're going to get to call a race at Daytona. So excited about that, Gary?
Let's. I would say if Christopher Kresge was still running, we'd put the camera on him. He won the very first Velocity Online Racing Series, IndyCar Series race at Daytona. He actually won a fuel mileage race. That race went caution-free. I forget the number of laps that went caution-free. I think they did 100 laps. And it went caution-free for 100 laps. Christopher Kresge won that on fuel mileage. And we'll be back again when the VOR Series visits Daytona here in a couple weeks. But that will be on FTN. Meanwhile, the lower series, they'll be here on RaceVerse. Pay attention to the channel. Make sure to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss out on those races. But the IR05s and the DW12s, I don't know if the 5s will be doing Daytona, but the 12s will. And there's Logan Spath coming up on Goyette. Trying to get around Goyette. There we go.
I wouldn't think that those races turn into fuel mileage derbies, but they do.
We had a very similar race also on the RIL at iRacing Super Speedway that I participated in. And actually, I got to lead a good chunk of it. And that turned into a caution-free fuel mileage race at the end. Byron. Keep it going, buddy. Okay. Got a little squirrely there going through 6.
Now's about the time, and nobody wants to say it. Now's about the time where we've been out here for an hour and a half plus practice is an hour.
Traffic is starting to back up in front of Gavin. And Gavin, actually, and I was getting ready to say Gavin has one of the Stowe cars, but that is not the Stowe car. That's Joey, one of the other Stowe teams. I think Joey's teaming with Hayden. And Mitch is now trying to put a position on Welker to move up to 9th. Mitch, Dan Marrera kind of moves over, goes down to 10th. And now he has the leader getting him. So he goes down a lap, unfortunately, loses a position as a result. Still not a bad run. Let's Joey Smits go. Now, Joey Smits not for position. So this is smart. He's letting these cars go who are still trying to race, and all the while, he's really not losing a position. He just lost the one. He's not hemorrhaging position right now.
Well, he's doing – you got to remember, he's not racing these guys.
No, right? He's in the amateur division.
He's racing AJ Digby. His race was with Digby. It's not with.
There's Digby right there. Yep, Digby's just up the road from this battle. And again, when the leader gets around you, and there's a lot of traffic, things get hectic, and something might happen. We don't wish that. We don't want to jinx anybody, but we've seen it happen before. So 48 of 54 in the books. And once again, if you're just joining us, this is RaceVerse coverage of Round 5 of the Formula Indy Series, coming to you from Brands Hatch, where Gavin Sanders leads Caleb Benzie by 1.5 seconds now in the closing stages here. We got about 48 of 54 done. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next race. Track temp is pretty comfortable. There's not a lot of get these other graphics off the screen, Gary. Track temperature is really not an issue. It's only 85 degrees. We still might see some fast laps here as these guys kind of get down to lighter tanks. We'll see. 66 degrees ambient, which seems to be pretty standard par for the course for the UK. We do see Mitch Welker there pulling away from Gav. And we'll see Mad Mike in chat that says, we're just punching a hole in the air for Sanders, helping him on the mileage. And don't you know, Gavin is probably knows that for real, so I'm sure he does.
No.
Say hi to everyone else in chat, by the way. Got Craig Forsyth in here. My man Rick in here. How you doing, guys? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Hit that like button while you're in there chatting, will you? Hit that like button. There's only 2 guys that have liked this deal. You know how YouTube works. Hit the like button.
I'll put up the graphic one more time.
It's the thumb pointed up, Craig. Just press it, right? Anything you guys do to just little things like that help out so much, and people don't realize it.
Yeah.
Hit the like button.
5 to go, and there is Caleb right there. Stand up, Stowe. Your boy is right there at the tail end of Sanders in the closing stages. 5 to go. P1, P2, right in direct contact now.
Now he's in draft range, so the toe is in effect, and the toe is a big deal here.
Yeah. And let's give you an update on the push-to-pass situation. Sanders has 2. Benzie has 5. Spath has 7. Daly 6. DeTurk 2. Sherlock 7. Gianni has 2. Digby 9. Welker has 6. And Marrera, going to run out the top 10 here, has 8. 9 cars on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap is Mitch Welker. Here we come. 5 to go.
Now with 5 push to passes,
and Sanders has traffic in front of him. And he's going to get around. He's going to get around. That's Johnston. Johnston just pulls over, let him by, but he's going to lose a little time there.
you're able to use those push to passes. I was just about to say, for Bensi, you're able to use those both
push to pass, push to defend.
In
Yeah.
terms of, well, not just push to pass and push to defend. He's able to use them offensively, but he's also able now, as we get into the dying laps, he's able to use them just for pure lap time. So when it got to this stage in a race, and if it was me,
No, he was 0.3 faster last lap.
yeah, I'd like to save mine. So the place that you would do it here is you are on the gas, basically the entire way up the hill here. Let's call it from the exit of 6 all the way to the entrance of 8. Turn 7 is just more of a kink. So if you hit your push to pad, you get the full use of it. And that extra 50 horsepower on a track like this, right, is huge.
Oh, nearly identical times. Sanders 109.16, Caleb Bensi 109.196.
And we've got guys diving out of the way. You talked about traffic. We've got guys literally pulling over friends for this battle. They don't want any part of it because they know it's getting good.
I think Joey Cements also dove out of the way. Next up is Welker, but Welker is at pace. Next up is Gianni. Let's see how far up the road Gianni. Gianni's up the road a bit from Welker, 6 seconds. I don't think they're going to get there. They might have encountered the last of the lap traffic. We'll see. 3 laps to go. These laps go by very quickly here at Brands Hatch. They're turning the lap times on the 109s now. So here we go. 3 to go, coming to 2 to go.
Back to 6/10. What's the push to pass scenario?
Push to pass situation is Gab now with 1 and Caleb with 3. Coming to the top of the hill. Caleb deep dive breaking in there. He cuts it now with 6/10 at the in the corner. Now loses a little bit on acceleration. 7/10.
Right, so as soon as they come out of Surtees, Bensi is going to get on the button because that is a long, straight, flat run. So
we'll see. We'll watch. There he is. So we're on the roll bar, and there you see on this Pi Dash readout, he is green, and the green blinking lights, the green border, the green blinking light says he's on the push to pass. And then as soon as he comes off the throttle, it goes away. And remember, when you do push to pass, you are going faster, so that does back up your braking points and your turn-in points. So you got to be mindful of that. And if you're close on fuel, it also might impact your mileage. But he's getting closer. Oh, gets a little squirrely there going into 8. And now we're back out on the main course.
Yep.
Coming to 1 to go. He's going to see the white flag with the flagman right there, flashing there off to the right.
Poor AJ Digby, I think his computer crashed.
Oh, and Mitch just dives out of the way. So good move on Mitch there. Try to fight him there to the end. Letting the leaders go. Not going to play a role in this. There's nobody in front of Gavin.
I'm assuming that Gavin has now used his push to pass.
No, he has not. He has got that one push left. Bensi's on his button now.
I bet he's saving it for coming back up the hill, would be my guess, if he needs it. He's a little bit far back now. He's a second back. He's cut it to 8/10. Each push to pass, by the way, in those spots is worth 2/10. It's a huge time gain. He's 8/10 back now, 7/10. They come through that kink.
Yep, through 7 into 8. And he might smack it the last time here, coming down the hill, then back up the hill, rejoining the main course. And he's going to be having a nice main course later tonight because he's going to be celebrating his second win of the season. And he is also your points leader, Gavin Sanders, with the win here at Brands Hatch.
Caleb Bensi going to come home second, and Logan Spath he'll be along shortly.
There he is.
Third.
It's the third spot.
Wonderful
Byron
run.
Daly looking at another top 5. Here he comes. Good run for him. Michael DeTurk, he's still on the back portion of the course. He'll be back on the front section here momentarily. He's looking a top 5 in the face. Just a couple more turns to negotiate. And the plain white wrapper. Somebody if need a sponsor right there. lots of room, lots of space. Michael de Turk, P5. Titus Sherlock making the final turn to the home stretch here. His best finish of the season been P6. Sebastian Gianni in that Gemini squad car. He is making the final turn. It's going to finish in 7th. And he is the last car on the lead lap. Good finish for him. Not a bad finish for their team, really. As Thomas Raval, even though started on pit road, finished 1 lap down, he's finished at 11th. So not a bad run for that Gemini squad. 2 cars in the top 15. But big day here for Gavin Sanders. Another win.
You know, that wasn't so bad for a road race. This really is, though. This literally is England's version of Road America. Right down to the blast of the forest. It's a ton. Watch Gavin just kind of... Well, he's going to do some donuts and tear up his stuff, I suppose.
That's okay. We got the final standings up on the boards here. Gavin Sanders, your winner. 2-stopper, 47 laps led. Caleb Bency led 1 lap. He finished his second. Logan Spath led 2 laps. He finished 3rd. Byron Daly, during that crossover period where might have been in range for the 1-stopper, managed to lead 4. Unlike the previous other races where we've had a little bit of yellow, there was no yellow here, so really the 1-stop would have been a kind of a pipe dream. But good finish for Daly there, backing up, making his third straight consecutive top 5 here in the series. De Turk 5th, Sherlock 6th, Gianni 7th. Mitch Welker recovers to 8th, but I'm sure he's not going to be very happy with that. Dan Marrera 9th, my hero. Good finish for him. He is the lead in class. He won the class. Lead amateur. Going to be good for him in the points. Unfortunately, A.J. Digby with a PC issue in the closing stages catapults Dan to the class win in 9th. Indica Scarlett, best finish of the season there for my gal Indica. She sits there in 10th. Great race all the way around. Down 4 spots, but just stayed in the top 10 all race long. And that's really what you need, especially after the last couple of races where she was taken out on incidents that really had nothing to do with anything that she was doing in the car. So great finish by her. Moving on, if my screen will change. I don't think my screen's going to change. We'll do this again. There we go. Come on, screen. There we go. Thomas Raval, 11th. Dakota the Maid, 12th. Matt Johnson, 13th. Joey Sullivan, 14th. Hayden Herman, 15th. Good finish for Hayden. Andy Oakes, 16th. Nick Goyette, 17th. Digby in 18th. Ingrave, 19th. Flauman, 20th. Unfortunately, we were jinxing a couple of those guys. Savager, 21st. Franchica, 22nd. Kresge, 23rd. Nate, our man, or Bert, 24th, unfortunately. Bodimi, 26th. How's that? I got to get the overlay fixed there. So I got Nate in 24th, Bonimi 25th, Costello 26th, and Tanner DeFavis in 27th. Your biggest gainer of the day, Michael de Turk, up 13 spots. And Thomas Raval, who started from pit road, up 16. Actually, he was your biggest gainer of the day. All right. And let's see who we get to. And let's bring up. I want to bring up their cars, but trying to do the replay, and they for some reason didn't cache it, so that's an issue. But we will bring up the podium here, and Logan. Finally, I get to talk to you on a broadcast interview. My man.
It's good to hear your voice.
Well, it's good to hear your voice. My man, you started strong, stayed strong. You were there all day. Congratulations on the podium. Just talk about your race, man. I imagine you're probably pretty happy.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a long time trying to get better at iRacing throughout these 3 years. Brands Hatch was so good. The Reds were a lot better than we expected, and I think Caleb and Gavin will say the same thing. They just didn't really fall off as badly as we thought, and the Blacks weren't really as good as they were in practice. Thankfully able to stick with Caleb and Gavin since we were on that red strat at the start, and their pace on that last stint was just crazy, but I knew I just needed to pack it up and not make any mistakes and just bring it home.
Go ahead, Murph.
Logan's just a tremendous run. Tell us about how this track compares to probably some of the ones that we're more familiar with here in the States and North America. I said it was a lot like Road America. What are your thoughts on how this place races? Fun track, by the way.
Yeah, it was great. I think for me, I think it relates to Mid-Ohio a bit with just how curvy it is. You really just have to be on the limit for every single turn just because they're so high speed that it's so easy to make one little mistake and take it out of the race with no curbing as well. But yeah, I think Mid-Ohio is what it felt to me, just with how curvy and over roller coastery it was.
Cool deal. Well, heck of a run. Congratulations on the P3. Got anybody you'd like to shout out, say hi to? The floor is yours.
Keep it as long as you want, man. You've heard this one. It's been a long time coming.
Heck yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, sucks that we weren't there for Talladega.
We talked about it on the broadcast. We're like, we're going to get him in the booth here finally. So go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I want to thank you, Gary, for always bringing the broadcast. It's always great. I watch them after every single race. I think you do a great job in the booth. I want to thank my grandparents for tuning into every single race, even when I was barely struggling to finish top 20, and just always being there every single race. And I want to thank Caleb and Gavin over these last 3 years with RaceVerse, and thank you, Scarlett, as well. Just always being patient with me and helping me get better and better every single season. So, yeah, thank you.
Well, you know what's next, man. It's got to be the second step or the win next. So, good to see you here. And
carnage.
Well, typically how these things happen is, it's the breakthrough, and then it's like a flood afterwards. So hopefully we're looking at Detroit, maybe Indianapolis. Maybe we get you there for Indianapolis or Detroit. But I suspect good things coming for you. But and this has been a long time coming. So I'm sure everyone at home that's watching is proud of you. I'm proud of you. I know your teammates are proud of you. Great to finally see you here. It's just a long time coming. We know you've been working very, very hard. Congratulations, and we hope to see you more. But I'll let you go so you can definitely go enjoy this one with the rest of your friends and family.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Mark.
You got it.
Yeah.
All right. And let's bring up Caleb now. A very happy Logan, as you would have guessed. Now up in the booth is Caleb. Hey, Caleb. Great points day for the team. I got 2 there on the podium. You had yourself a decent race. A shot there kind of at the lead in the first couple laps there before everything kind of settled out and strung out. But beyond that, you kind of maintained that second spot for pretty much the entire race, made it yours. But I'm sure that when you heard that there was an incident with one of your point rivals, it kind of made this race even more interesting, kind of sit up in the seat going, oh, we got to maximize this opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. Pretty happy with that. I knew the start was going to be tough because these cold tires were just crazy bad, crazy sketchy. So, and you didn't really know which direction was going to go. One second you just plow through the corner, next second you're having a massive snap or something. So
yeah,
I was kind of with them side by side. I was kind of expecting them both to overshoot the entry, turn 4 there, and try to get underneath them, which kind of worked. But I knew being on the outside with Gavin there, he wasn't going to let it happen, which rightfully so. So yeah, after that, we all expected the Reds to fall off a lot. So I was definitely playing it safe on the tires there in that first stint, and they just never really fell off a cliff. So didn't really maximize that as much as I would have liked. And then the Blacks, I just felt completely off. Just never really felt comfortable on them. But once we got back on the Reds, I actually felt comfortable enough to pushing pretty hard and made a good run at Gavin. I just wish we wouldn't have lost so much time on that first pit stop and then first run on blacks. But I mean, ultimately, still, like I said, with the rival and stuff, like that was a pretty decent race.
Well, I imagine you're pretty happy. Murph, you got any questions for the defending series champ here?
The questions that I have for Caleb Bency wouldn't fit in the length of this broadcast, but Caleb, heck of a run. Normally we run up against each other on tracks that don't feature right turns. Speaking of right turns, what's the hardest right turn on this track? I'd have to say it's probably the first corner there, Paddock Hill Bend. But what say you?
Man, they're all tough. Yeah, one is super hard to get to the apex. It's not like sketchy in the sense you're gonna wreck or something, but it's just so hard to find the apex. Completely blind, no real references. And then turn 2, it's hard not to lock the fronts. And then coming off that backstretch down and just right. Again, those are completely blind, super high commitment, and you're just flirting with losing the rear every single time through there. So, that's definitely one of the more exhausting races and tracks you'll definitely race at, which I think that's a lot of fun. It's more rewarding when you can keep it 4 wheels on the car and get a decent finish out of it, because every corner just you feel like you're on the ragged edge, or I don't know. It's very rewarding though.
Good deal, my friend. Well, congratulations on the P2. You made it look easy. Got anybody at home you want to say hi to or shout out? Or
we know the family's watching, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, shout out Logan, because
yeah,
he came into all of this iRacing stuff with little to no experience, and I mean he's definitely gone through it at times with just trying to figure it out and find pace here and there, and he has not stopped in his commitment, and it's awesome to see it pay off with the podium here finally. But it's getting closer and closer, so congrats to him for finally getting it. And yeah, thanks to you guys as always, putting on a great broadcast for the fam to watch. And yeah, thanks to all the family as always. Amigo Sakira from the Northeast Ohio area, Blossom and Flower, same deal. And yeah, I mean, obviously you want that little bit extra to get to P1, especially when you're that close, but you can't complain so much with P2.
I'll see you at Belle Isle next, another place I know you do pretty good at. So maximum points here against your chief rivals always feels good, and going into at least 2 tracks. I know you do well at Belle Isle, and also know that you do well at Indianapolis, so 2 tracks you do well at. Looking at some other opportunities to try to put a little bit more distance there. But congratulations for you and the team, and hi to the family at home. Thanks for watching, and go enjoy your P2 for tonight.
Will do. Thank you, guys.
See ya.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring up Gavin here. As Deadpool likes to say, maximum effort, maximum points today. Man, you took the lead, you kept it. You didn't lead them all, but you led most of them. And in the process, one of your key rivals didn't really have a good day. I would say that overall, for your second win of the season, you're a pretty one-happy person right now.
It was a good night, Gary. It was a very good night. In terms of just general enjoyment, I do enjoy driving this track, although it does try to kill you a lot.
Yes.
But it was a good night. Obviously, there's some other things going on, but you can't win them all, so it is just minimizing the damage when stuff goes wrong, and it's difficult to stay out of trouble here as well. I mean, the amount of times I almost got smoked trying to pass people and work my way through traffic, it was a hectic one, but we're here safe and sound. So
yeah, I would imagine that we did see some traffic issues out there, not just you, but others. Sometimes with rejoining, some people just catching the people at the wrong time. You name it. I would imagine that's probably going to be the topic of discussion if it's not already an ongoing topic of discussion in the Discord server. But one thing I did notice, man, you are 2 for 2 in this blue car, and I like this blue car. So talk about these sponsors on here. I know you're going to shout them out, because they should be pretty happy that this blue car is 2 times in it and 2 times in Victory Circle.
Yeah, pretty good start with the Pagged racing car. Real nice to be able to kind of just show a little bit of thankfulness and support the brand. And it's so far so good. So I mean, I have some other liveries lined up for the rest of the year, but I'm really not sure.
I'm about to say, but you know, maybe you might want to, you know, if you don't win the next time you drive the blue car, then you kind of tarnish it. So you got to pick your spot that you definitely know you got to win, so you can go 3 for 3 in this thing. But I noticed, I made that, I just realized, it's like, oh, he won in that car, because I like that car. So he won in that Long Beach, and he won here. So he's 2 for 2. So there says something. Or maybe Mitch just doesn't want to see you in the blue car. I don't know, but it was a tough day for him. But we noticed that you kind of, he definitely had pace, and you just kind of followed him through. You didn't really push the issue with him, even though that at one point, and I think that might have been a slower car in front of Mitch, you were kind of losing time to Caleb a little bit, but no panic, just followed him through and allowed him to do his thing, and eventually he just drove off as you kind of coasted to the win there.
Yeah, I didn't really want to get involved. We had relative pace, and it would kind of go in and out and in and out and in and out, and the gap would just kind of modulate back and forth. But as we would catch people, then he'd kind of get stuck. It's a difficult track to negotiate without blue flags.
Yeah.
And again, it is not at all on anyone for getting in anyone's way, because it is impossible to get. It is impossible to hide, basically.
Yeah.
When you're racing here. So that being said, it made a little bit more interesting at the end than I really wanted it to be, just by virtue of kind of having to deal with a lot of awkward scenarios. But again, what are you gonna do, right? And at the end of the day, we figured it out and got it done. So no moaning and groaning.
No. Well, shout outs. Anybody want to say hi to sponsors, friends, family? Go right ahead. We know you earned it. Second win of the season, and we also know you too are heading to a track here at Belle Isle that you do reasonably well at. So you're looking for the next couple of races here. I imagine everyone that's on the car, friends and family, are pretty excited for you. So go ahead and give them a shout out.
Yeah, obviously, thank you to Team Melamo Esports. Thanks to Stowe. Obviously, it was a big night for them. Technically, we're rivals, but it's always good when you see Logan jump up on a podium, and especially the amount of progress that I just want to pause the shout outs just to highlight the fact that he killed it. Absolutely knocked it out of the park, and just watching the amount of progress he's made in the time I've known him, and to see it kind of culminating up to this is really cool. So congrats to them, the two of them on second and third, and then big thank you to Track Sport Performance, hi Vic, and thanks to you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast. And buy Echo Blade.
I'm about to say.
Just do it. I'm tired, man. I'm sweating. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to get all worked up over it. Just go buy it. Okay? Thank you very much.
I was wondering if he was going to let that one slip, because I wasn't going to let you forget it. But he remembered that after everything else, remembered to get Echo Blade on Steve. Well, congratulations. We'll see you at Belle Isle next. It looks like I'm going to guess. If I refresh, let me refresh the points page and see if that has been updated. Yes, it has been. So the standings now, as of this race, have you at a 34-point lead over Caleb, and a 39-point lead over Mitch, and then Logan worked his way up into the top 4 here. With his podium, and he's 83 points behind you guys. So good showing there for all kind of the 3 associated cars. And then Welker, even after having a bad race, is still not out of it. But you are the commander going into the second half of the season.
Yeah, again, I say it every single week now, I feel like, but the consistency is all that matters. It's just, you see it in real life in IndyCar, you see it on here. The guys who are always running at the front, never making mistakes or driving off or having issues, those are the guys who climb up the standings. And as long as you, again, As long as I talk to you guys, I'm happy. I'm a happy guy. I can go to bed happy on Thursdays.
We actually had a driver of another league one time said, my goal every week, if I can't win, is to always talk to you guys. So then I know I'm doing good. Well, once again, congratulations. Let's see. This is trying to find out what win number this is. No, I don't want. I want overall stats. Is the second one of the season here for you, but this is, boy, SimRacer Hub is being a pain in the butt tonight.
I can help you out. It's currently Mitch with 13, myself with
9. So it's your 9th career win. Yeah,
7.
Yeah.
Yes.
So still diving into that lead that Mitch has for a little bit, but your 9th career win. Congratulations. We'll see you next week, and go celebrate, man.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. All right. So, obviously very, very happy. Gavin Sanders here. And you kind of saw all the drama kind of play out. And this has been the interesting thing this season is that this has been in previous seasons, especially 2 seasons ago when we broadcast, whenever Mitch got up front, it was just like lights out, start the bus, the party's over. Mitch is going to win. This year, it's been a little bit different, and there's kind of been a little drama in each and every race that have kind of made these things interesting. So I'm glad you got a chance to check it out because there's been plenty of drama this season, and today is no difference in that, is because we had that incident between Seifer and Mitch Welker that is probably going to play at least a role here and how this season shakes out in the points championship.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily like to drive them, but I love watching well-run road races, and this was certainly one of them. You got to feel bad for Mitch and Nate. Both of those guys, fine road racers, fine drivers, and just kind of a freak thing happened there. But kudos to everybody on the podium. That was a lot of fun. It was kind of interesting to figure out whether Caleb was going to catch Gavin, whether he had enough in the tank, or if Sanders was going to be able to hold him off, and he certainly was. And so, always interesting to try to watch and figure out those little subplots. Who's got more fuel? Who's got better tires? Who's hoarded their push to pass for the end? And always enjoy watching that. So, good show, good fun, and if you guys want to have me back up here, I'd be glad to do it sometime. As you know, I tend to have other commitments on Thursday nights, but we'll see.
Now, coming soon, you and I both will have the similar commitment on Thursday nights, but that's to be talked about later. But once again, shout out to the FIS and to the league for putting 27 cars on the grid. I can't think of very many other leagues right now that can still rock that many cars. So those of you that are watching at home, that you have the iRating and you have the experience, you have the cars, you have the tracks, check out the FIS. And they got the 2 divisions, the amateurs and the pros. And you can race in this series and be kind of classified up against people against your skill set, depending on how your iRating is. So I'm, once again, really impressed with the FIS and their admin team for putting another 27 cars on the grid. That is something to be definitely proud of. Murph, do want to thank you, but that's it for tonight. Once again, your podium from Brands Hatch is Gavin Sanders with the 2nd win of the year and continues to stay on the podium as all season long. He has not fallen off that. Caleb Bency, P2, Logan Spath. Everybody's happy for Logan getting that first podium finish here at Brands Hatch, finishing 3rd, and he will be celebrating for the next week, I'm sure. He has definitely earned it. It's good to finally get him up in there in the booth. Join RaceVerse again next week as we go back to the USA and the streets of Motown on Belle Isle for round 6 of the Formula Indy Series. Coverage begins around 8:50 p.m. Eastern. Again, it's 8:50. As always, you can find the correct broadcast times in your area on YouTube at youtube.com/RaceVerse. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not easy, so please help support RaceVerse with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know you thought of tonight's race. And we want to thank everybody who participated in chat. Been a big part part of that. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. If you're new, click subscribe while you're at it. Hit the bell for weekly reminders so you don't miss out more on other iRacing, RaceVerse iRacing program, and including this Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern, the IIS, one of our signature programs, 2 p.m. Eastern, IIS on Saturday at Long Beach. 100% length races, going to be probably a very stoked top split. Don't want to miss that. Again, 2 p.m. Eastern Saturday, IIS right here on RaceVerse at Long Beach. Keep your browser set here for the most in-depth IndyCar knowledge in all iRacing. RaceVerse, we know what Indy means. For business inquiries, learn more about RaceVerse and what we do, visit raceverse.com. Like us on Facebook or follow us all on Twitter. Our handles are at the bottom of the screen. So for Mark Murphy and RaceVerse, I'm Gary Gatto, the voice of the FIS, saying to all, good night and thanks for watching. And to all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Catch us again next week in Detroit as this tight championship continues for the next race of the Formula Indy Series. Good night.